You made a decision very early on in the pandemic to go virtual, really before virtually every other company in this country. And not only to go virtual, but also to go virtual for a very lengthy period of time before people were even thinking necessarily to do that. Just take us back to the beginning of this and the conversations that you were having and the decisions that you were trying to make.
Well, first, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me. You've come a long way since you were 3. It's great to be here. So in terms of the decision on work from home, we did move quickly to move people to home. We were moving people out in Asia in February. First office in the States was in March. We were out of the U.S. and Europe by the end of March. And there were a couple of elements of it, which really I was drawing upon the experiences from the '08 crisis. And that sort of guided the execution path and then some of the decisions. And one of the key elements is you have to have a strong governance, command and control structure around crisis risk management so you keep the team all together and moving in one direction. The other is that you're dealing with ambiguity. And as facts change, you can change, but you've got to keep moving forward. The other critical element, you'll remember this from all the '08 conversations, is in a crisis you're dealing with least worst. It's a least worst choice. And for Google, that was a new muscle because Google really had sort of the best options for so much of its life. And so now we're moving into what's the least worst option, and the phrase good is good enough. And a critical element of all of this to keep us all moving forward productively as well as possible in a obviously unprecedented, painful period was over-communicate. And we were going around the clock. We had our internal site go/coronavirus with FAQs constantly up. So people felt that we were there really caring immensely for every element of Googlers. And what I'm most proud of is we had this incredible surge in online activity at this time. At one point early on in the crisis, the search queries was was 4 times higher than during the Super Bowl. And when you looked at what was going on with everybody moving online to be with video conference, our Google Meet product, it was up 30 times and continued to grow. And we were able to support all that while in this remote environment. And then we made the decision to extend voluntary work from home through June 2021 because we were really looking at this sort of piecemeal approach, and you can't plan your life and get sort of a cadence that works when it's just incremental. So we stepped back and said, as people are trying to figure out where do they want to be, how are they going to make this work, it looks like it could extend. We said there's a wellness element to just extend the duration out and say it's voluntary work from home through that period. I'm glad we made the decision. I think it's worked really well. It's helped put a bit more structure into people's thinking about what this journey
Okay, so now here's the hard question then. Are you changing the June 21st, June 21, 2021 date? We had Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci with us yesterday. We had Albert Bourla from Pfizer. There is a likelihood, or we hope, that there will be vaccines starting to be available for the mass public at scale. Call it April, call it May. You have to take a booster, so there's going to be a 3 or 4 week period after that. What do you think is realistic for people really coming back to work?
So we haven't changed the June 2021 date. And as I said, it's voluntary work from home through that period of time. From all of the internal pulse surveys and other work we've done, there's a range of what people are hoping for in this new normal. And our expectation on return to office, which is frankly substantially more complicated than moving everyone to home, is that we'll end up in a hybrid work environment, some in the office, some at home. We firmly believe, and we've said this repeatedly, we believe that innovation benefits from people coming together. It's about collaboration, it's about serendipity, and it's collaboration not just within your team, but across teams. So we do look forward to getting people back in the office. That being said, working from home is working, and there's a productivity lift not needing to come into the office. And so we're going to continue to experiment with what is that mix, what is the space internally. One thing we assume, or let's say we know, is that if we're bringing people into the office because it's about collaboration, we want our space to be increasingly about these flexible collaborative spaces. We want to retain the quirky fun feel that Google has always been known for, but we're also looking at technology. And our technology, Google Workspace, G Suite, has always been about collaborative tools, which is very much about this hybrid environment. We're continuing to look at what else we can do. And so we will experiment. Some people likely will be coming back well before that June 2021 date, but it's voluntary work from home through that period of time. And we have not looked to change that date. And then we will sort of grow into people coming back to the office.
You said it's harder to bring them back than to go work from home to begin with. Tell us about what that looks like in your mind. I mean, and Google does have a particularly unique office space structure, often very open plan. What are you working on right now?
Well, so if Workspace has been about collaboration, serendipity, quirky, it's fun, we want to keep that. And as I said, what we're looking at is there will be places where people can go just because they need private space alone. But the most important is to rethink what's the footprint of our space so that we really enable more of this flexible, collaborative workspace coming together, whether it's in groups of 4 or 8 or 12 in a socially distanced way, as long as one needs to be doing it that way. And so it's this flexible model. We're looking at our floor plates with that in mind. And we're really excited. In New York, we just had a big landmark day yesterday. We're continuing to build out our campus in New York, but looking at our space as this collaborative magnet. And then, as I said, we're thinking about how we layer in technology and tools so that you can live in this hybrid world. And a lot of it is about collaborative docs.
Right.
We will continue to experiment. I think it's hard to say today that we know exactly what it will be, but we're looking at a lot of different formats.
Okay.